Hello, and welcome back to Giselle Eats. Y'all, we have had a busy week this week. All these recipes, they're just gonna keep on coming this week. Now, today, we're gonna make a squash casserole. I think it'll be great for your Thanksgiving feast, and it's simple, quick, and easy. Now, I've always wondered how people have squash casserole and macaroni and cheese, because to me they're very similar with all of that cheese and creaminess, but people do it. So I wanted to give you my spin on squash casserole. Now I got 4 zucchini and 4 squash, and we're going to use probably a half a cup or full cup of diced white onion. Now, I'm going to use a whole can of creamy chicken soup. Cream of chicken soup. I'm going to use the entire can of it. And then I'm going to follow up with probably a quarter of a cup of sour cream and probably a quarter of a cup of mayonnaise. Of course, Duke mayonnaise. I'm going to add in 2 eggs. And I'm going to probably season it lightly with some pepper and some chicken bouillon. I'm going to mix all of that together with some cheese, maybe a quarter of cup of cheese, just to start with the base before I get to sauteing the zucchini, the squash, and the onion. I feel like this consistency is perfect. So if you're gonna follow the recipe, I think you should follow it exact. So a quarter a cup, basically almost the same amount that is in the can. You want to use it for all the sour cream, the mayonnaise, and the soup mix. Your 2 eggs, your cheese. I didn't use a lot of cheese. I did use a lot of cheese, but for this mixture, I only put like a quarter cup of cheese because that's what I had left over just to get it started. Now, the cheese that I'm using today, I've been liking this queso blend that I found in Food Lion's Deli. It's not that powdery consistency that Kraft's and sometimes Sargenta have on their cheese. So I really like that, and it melts really well. So I will be using that cheese today. When it's time to saute the squash and zucchini. I'm only going to use some Lawry's and maybe a little bit of black pepper. I'm not sure, but that's all I'll be seasoning because you don't want it to be too salty. We're going to give this a really, really good mix. Of course, you can't taste it because we have that raw egg in it, but you do want to season it lightly. Now I have just some regular vegetable oil, and we're going to basically saute steam the zucchini and squash. Nothing fancy here. The skillet is extremely hot, as you can see. We're going to add in our seasonings, and we're going to just cover it and let them steam. We're going to give it a nice stir. We're not going to add any water because the zucchini and squash accumulate so much water and juice. You're definitely going to have to really strain all of this water or juice off of them. So I'm on a medium high heat. A full tablespoon of vegetable oil. I'm gonna go in with some Lawry's seasoning and some fresh pepper, and we're going to steam these down. Now I like to, when I'm doing my zucchini in a pan like this, of course I'm gonna pile it in there because I know it's gonna wilt down a whole lot. So I'm gonna put the seasonings kind of in the middle and then add the rest of the zucchini and squash on top. And once I add it on top, I'm going to add in some butter. And I'm just going to let it steam and do what it has to do. It'll make its own water. Do not add any more water to this because it's going to make so much water. You don't want to make a mess in your pot, and it's going to be more work for you to have to do. Now, we're not going to cook these all the way. We kind of want them kind of al dente a little bit because they still need to go into the oven for about 45 minutes covered, and then you're going to put it under the broiler to brown the cheese. So we take the lid off. We're going to give it a good stir. You move it around a little bit. You want to check for the consistency because we do not want it to be too mushy or too soft. We still want it to have a slight crunch because it still needs to go in the oven. Let's move over to get our Ritz crackers. Now right here I have 3 full sleeves. Now you don't have to use 3 full sleeves. For my recipe I did because this is a lot of squash casserole. I am putting them in my deep dish that y'all all have seen, my deep dish casserole dish, and I like to layer the crackers in, mixing some inside and layering it on the top. Then I put the cheese on. So those are 3 sleeves of Ritz crackers. I am going to put maybe, I'm gonna say almost, not quite, a half a stick of butter onto the squash while they're hot, and our mixture that we mixed up a few minutes ago. And we're going to get all of that stuff added and combined really, really well with our crackers. Now, since this is the dish that we are serving this squash in, we need to make sure that it looks presentable for your table. So always try to get something a little damp and clean up your edges, because you want, once you present it to the table, you want it to look neat and clean, you know, presentable. If you have some paprika or some parsley, I would say once this bake in the oven for 45 minutes, cover and then uncover under the broiler, watching it off and on for a minute or two. Then add you some paprika or add you some parsley just to garnish it a little bit. This will go in the oven, like I just said, for under 350 degrees for 45 minutes, covered. You're gonna take it out and just watch it, and here you go. We browned it, beautiful brown golden cheese, and it's time to eat. Another successful day, another great Thanksgiving. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.